Hello, guys, and welcome back to Big Brother. And a lot has happened in tonight's episode, and I gotta say, it was very, very entertaining. We had a shocking triple eviction in the last episode, which resulted in the three most nominated housemates, Tom, Jenkin, and Jordan, being sent to Big Brother's spare room to spy on the other housemates. However, they were told that only one of them would make it back into the house, and the other two would be evicted in the third double eviction of the season. Who went? Well, we found out live at the end of this episode. I just want to do a little plug before we start. I am going to be doing some I'm a Celebrity content on the channel starting next Monday. I know that a lot of people are not wanting to watch I'm a Celebrity this year. My family are going to be watching it regardless, so I will be watching it, and I am going to try and make some good content for you guys so you guys can keep up to date on this show and up to date on your favourite celebrities without supporting ITV in their decision to put a certain two people on the show. However, I do fully appreciate if you don't want to engage in that content. That's very, very fair. But I just figured it would be nice because I'm a Celeb was the first kind of reality show that got me into things, and I don't want to have to miss out on a series, even though it's going to be a very uncomfortable series to watch. But you best believe I will be letting my unfiltered opinions air on this channel. So let's dive straight into this episode. And I gotta say, Jordan, Jenkin, and Tom are a very interesting trio. Jenkin and Tom already have that connection, but they both nominated Jordan and genuinely seemed to have a dislike towards him when they were nominating, but now they're stuck in a room with him. They're all busy mates, and I think it was very, very interesting to watch because it was very, very clear that Jenkin and Tom had misjudged Jordan, and Jordan was actually opening up a lot to them, which I thought was very interesting. At one point, he was talking to them, I think it was Tom actually, about how he used to be a lawyer that represented landlords who were trying to evict their tenants. And he said that it was very soul destroying work and he didn't really enjoy it. He enjoyed the courtroom side of it, but he didn't really enjoy the representing the people who were trying to destroy other people's lives. I gotta say, I was so happy that this episode proved everybody wrong in saying that Jordan genuinely didn't like Henry and was just using him, because this man was pining after Henry in this episode. And oh, it was so cute. He was asked by Tom, do you think it would work on the outside world? And he said yes, but they need to have a chat and they need to sort of see what they're like outside of the sort of restrictions of the house, because obviously when you're put in like that pressure cooker environment, relationships can flourish and they might not work outside of the Big Brother house. But that's a at the moment there's a connection, but the question of whether it will work outside the house is something they can't answer until they leave. So I'm grateful that we get to see them, hopefully for the rest of the week. But who knows? There's loads more twists in store, so anything could happen to split them up. It was also really, really cute to see Jordan get Henry's necklace in his suitcase. Oh my god, it was such a cute moment because you could genuinely see his face light up when he saw the necklace and saw that Henry had given him it. Oh, I've never been this invested in a reality show romance, and it's not Love Island. Like Love Island, I've watched a couple of seasons of, and like I never get emotionally connected to any relationship. But then suddenly Jordan and Henry come out the woodwork, and I'm all for it. I'm all in the woodwork. Yeah, that didn't make sense, but we're gonna move on. The next thing I want to talk about was the song that they kept on singing throughout the episode. I gotta say, there was a lot of comments from Tom, Jordan, and Jenkin about how ridiculous it was. Jordan actually seemed like he was joining in and having a fun time, but the other two are miserable sons of guns. And I gotta say the it went something along the lines of like, yesterday we suffer, today we relax, and tomorrow we will suffer again. And I was like, okay, this is fun. And then they just kept doing it throughout the episode, and I was like, oh my goodness, is this what happens when the negative influences in the house leave? Like, suddenly the house is nothing but happy positivity. Like, that's craziness. Like, who'd have thought it? Who'd have actually thought that when you take out the negative people in the house, that you get like such a happy, welcoming, warm environment? There was an interesting task that Henry had to do, and he had to say yes for the day. So he had a little earpiece in, and Big Brother was talking to him, and all the tasks that he had to do were actually decided by Jordan, Matty, and Tom. Jordan, Jenkin, and Tom. And I gotta say, it was quite entertaining and funny to watch. I think Henry was the perfect person to do this. Jordan made him flirt with Matty, and it was very, very painful to watch. And Jenkin actually clocked Jordan. So Jenkin asked, how can you flirt whilst talking about someone's boyfriend or something like that? And then he turned to Jordan and went, well, you'd know. And I was like, Jenkin, I can't believe you've said that. But also, that's one of the funniest things you've ever said. Oh, so that was quite funny. I think Matty was sort of like, oh, this is funny. Then he had to knock water on Yinrun and then ignore her, which was a bit spiteful from Tom, I thought. But we'll get more into Tom and Yinrun in a little bit. And then he had to have a private dance lesson from Olivia and just critique her the entire time, which was very funny. He called her promiscuous, and like I said, it was very funny. Then he had to pour all of Noki's oat milk down the sink. And I think at that point, that was when Olivia clocked that it was a secret task. And Olivia, being Olivia, went out and told Matty that it was a secret task, and Noki was like, don't say anything, because obviously if they're announcing that they know it's a secret task, they're not going to win because it's a secret task. And then they went and told Yinrun in the shower, and then Henry was told that he had failed the challenge. Oh, he could have won champagne and, what was it, caviar bellinis or something like that, or like little, they were like little like canapes. And I just thought, Olivia, you mucked that up. Henry didn't. Henry was doing a pretty poor job of it, I will say. But if she'd have just shut her mouth, it should have been fine. She'd have been absolutely fine. I also think he should have taken a little bit more time to do it, because it felt like he was doing everything back to back, and that was becoming a little bit of an issue. I don't know. Yeah. It was an entertaining part of the episode, I gotta say. The next task that they were asked to do was the talent show, and I gotta say there was not a lot of talent in sight. Yeah, it was tough to watch at times, I won't lie. Henry was doing impressions, but we actually only got to see one impression, and that was of Jenkin, and he started off in a Welsh accent, and then it kind of just descended into his own accent, and it wasn't as funny. And very interestingly, they were told that it was live, when in fact it was live to the three people who were sitting in Big Brother's spare room, and they were deciding who got booed, who got wooed, and who got most and least entertaining performance. The second person up was Matty, and I don't even know what to describe Matty's performance as, because he kind of just ran around the stage and then got attacked by his teddy bear, and it was an odd fever dream. Yeah, I don't really get it. Was it meant to be funny? Like, I'm a bit confused. I don't really get it. Did I miss something? I don't know. Then Noki was up, and she was Noki Minaj, and I gotta say, I think she was singing "Doesn't have a heartbeat running away, beating like a drum and it's coming your way." Super Bass. She was singing Super Bass by Nicki Minaj, and I hope I don't get copyright striked because that was quite good singing from me. But it wasn't. But it was just very, very entertaining to watch, and her flow wasn't quite there, but she did a better job of it than most other people. Like, all I can get is those I can't even get the first part. Top down AC with the that cooling system. I think that's all I've got. That's all I've got in me. And then it's like that's it. So like she did a much better job of it than I thought she would. And also she did a much better job of it than I would have. And that is the most important part. Up next was Olivia, and Olivia surprised me actually, because she was doing like, I think she was doing a comedy piece playing her alter ego Oliver, but it was just kind of her being stupid, and it was hilarious. And like, I don't understand this girl at all, because what do you mean that the first week I've hated you, the second week I've loved you, the third week I've hated you, and it's just been a backwards and forwards from there, and now I love you and I kind of want you to win, but I also don't want you to win because I want Jordan to win. So like, it's a complicated mess in my brain right now of like how I feel about all these housemates. But I gotta say, the 6 that we end up with at the end of this episode, a worthy top 6. Not my personal top 6. I would have had Kerry in there because I just found Kerry fucking hilarious. But it's interesting because there was a point where I guessed that the top 6 would be Olivia, Jordan, Henry, Yinrun, and I thought Trish and Kerry, but obviously. But I got 4 out of 6 of them. I didn't think Noki would make it this far, but Noki's shocked me and like really come out of her like shell and really entertained me. And so like, I couldn't imagine the house without her, which is crazy because for the first 3 weeks I knew nothing about her. And just to get back on track, Yinrun was the last person up, and she was pretty dire, I won't lie. Like, it was very much targeted what the sort of the spare room peeps did when they kind of like Jenkin and Tom kind of chucked their like woo panels on the floor to like show that they were gonna boo her regardless of how well she did. But like, it was tough to listen to, and it was. Do you know why it was not as entertaining as it should have been? This is the 3rd time that potentially even the 4th time that we've heard this. This is what I know of British talk, like, monologue that she does. She did it in her entrance video. She did it in the diary room with Henry and Matty when she was like talking about nincompoop. And I'm sure she did it in a conversation with somebody else, but I could be making that one up. So like, she was just repeating the same old things again. So it wasn't entertaining and it wasn't funny. So like, the fact that they booed her, I didn't disagree with. It was just like the maliciousness behind it that I was like, that's not okay. But they eventually voted Noki as the most entertaining, which I completely agreed with, and Yinrun as the least entertaining. Yeah, I would say that I didn't laugh in hers. I laughed at least once in all the other ones, but she was the only one that didn't really entertain me as much as I wanted her to. I don't know. It just, yeah, it wasn't actually that interesting. So the last little section of the episode was devoted to the sort of gang in the spare room asking, or being asked by Big Brother who they wanted to send to the diary room for like a quiz session. And they chose Yinrun, and I'm gonna just talk really quickly about Tom's disdain for Yinrun, and I really don't understand where it's come from, because it seems like it's only come out in the last day, and it's getting so obnoxious. And I've seen loads of people be like, Jordan should have stuck up with her for her, but like, when you're in that scenario, and like, yeah, you can say this is me making excuses for him, whatever, but like, when you're in that situation and you've got 2 people being genuinely quite nasty, like, I would probably just sit there and sort of like nod along and laugh, because like it doesn't matter how like they think I think. Like I'm an independent human being, do you know what I mean? So like if I disagree with them, I'm not gonna, I don't know. I don't know what I'd do in that situation, because would I be like, you're being unfair? Probably. But also, he's a deeply uncomfortable person in social settings, and they are being nasty about one of his friends. So like maybe he just doesn't want the grief. He just wants to get through it and go home. Do you know what I mean? He said so many times like, I'm so tired. Like if I go home, I'm just gonna get drunk. And I was just like, do you know what? Absolutely fair and valid. So like, it is tough. It is tough, and I don't know how to fully verbalize my thoughts, because like I get where he's coming from, but I also would have liked for him to stick up for Yinren, because Tom was genuinely on like a vendetta in this episode. Every single thing she did was like a oh, can't believe she's doing this, and it did get a little bit tiring. And they purposely asked her to the diary room to like get answers as to why she voted for them, and she gave her reasons, and they still weren't satisfied. So like I actually just don't know what they want from her, and I think it's just getting uncomfortable at this point. And then the last little bit was they were doing like a top 5 thing, and again Tom was just sitting there and just slagging them off, and I was like, they're just talking about you as you have about other contestants. It's just the other contestants are at home and they're not still in the game. So like, bought off, actually just bought off, because I actually can't be bothered. I actually can't be bothered with you, Tom. I'm so sorry, but this episode did not do you any justice, and you're so lucky that like the vote was closed before this episode started, because I think you would have got 10 times as many votes. So I knew that they were going to be doing the eviction live, but what I did not expect is for us to come back from the break and AJ was like, we're live on ITV2, please do not swear. Honestly, like I gotta say, her saying please do not swear is now just as iconic as Davina and like Emma saying it. Like, it's so sort of like the way she says it is so iconic and fun and exciting that like it just it sent shivers down my back. I was like, oh. And then it was revealed that apparently the Big Brother house has been turned into the Wild West, which I was like, okay, seems like we're getting a Wild West challenge tomorrow. Cool. And then they had to go outside, and the 3 outlaws, obviously Jenkin, Jordan, and Tom, were in like prison cells in the garden, and I gotta say, everyone was kind of gobsmacked to see them. No one, well, there's been talks about, apparently on the live stream, a few of them were like, I don't know whether they're actually gone or not, but I think they left it a good amount of time for it to feel like they'd actually gone. So when they came back, it was a shock for the housemates. And I gotta say, they were very, very pleased to see them all. And then Big Brother was like, do you 3 have any last words? And gotta say, Jordan was very entertaining with his. He kind of was very light with it. He were like, you're all very childish, and the singing needs to stop. You know my opinions on that. And it was it was very light-hearted and humorous. Jenkin, on the other hand, ripped into them. He was basically like, my opinions on you guys have changed watching you guys. It's like watching a children's program. Remember why you're here. Stay true to yourself. And I was like, shut the fuck up. Like, they're just having fun. They're just trying to pass the time. Stop being a miserable dickhead. Do you know what I mean? Like, it's tough, because Jenkin's been one of these people that like, he'll have really, really good moments, and then he'll just have moments like this where I'm like, oh, I just knocked something on the floor, whoopsie. Where I'm just like, actually, please shush, because you're not being very nice, and you're not being very productive to a nice environment. And then Tom, who has been chatting the most shit behind people's backs, is now suddenly, ooh, yeah, it's like watching a children's program, but like, I'm so proud of you. Don't lose yourself. Wishing you all the best. Stop worrying about everything else and just enjoy yourself. What happened to, if I get the chance, I'm gonna tell it to their face. I'm gonna tell it to their face. Yeah, pipe down. You're just a little boy. You little bitch boy. Sorry, I didn't mean to say that, but like, it all originated from like when he was little lost sheep, and I accidentally called him little bitch boy because he was Paul's bitch for a while, and he's been Paul's bitch ever since. Like even after Paul's gone, he's still crying over him and being upset and always mentioning him. Like Paul left 2.5 weeks ago. We've had We've had 3 people leave the house since he left. Jesus Christ! Like, get over yourself. No, I'm not gonna get worked up. I'm not, because it's not worth it. And they announced. I'm really happy that AJ came over the loudspeakers and announced it live to the house. She announced that the 9th person to be evicted was Tom, and the 10th person. And when I tell you, my heart was going pitter patter. I thought I was going to faint. My heart was a fluttering. But they announced Jenkin was the 10th person to be evicted, and Jordan was sent back into the house. I breathed a sigh of relief, because I was like, what do you mean? I'm so happy right now. Like, this has actually made my day. And I'm so grateful that he's back in the house, because A, January's reunited. B, I voted for him to win immediately as soon as it opened, because I'm sorry, but Jordan is my favourite person in the house, and he's been the most entertaining. He's carried some episodes on his back, and he's just funny, and like he's so unserious, and he so just doesn't care about anything that, like, yeah, of course I want him to win the 100k. I want him to win the 100k, and then I want him to get a hotel room at Claridge's for him and Henry. So it's just time now to talk about the highlights of the exit interviews. And basically, AJ basically accused him of coasting to the final week. She was like, some people have said that you've coasted to the final week. That's a horrendous representation of her accent, and I'm so sorry, AJ. You're not going to watch this, but like, I'm so sorry. He was also asked a lot of questions about Yinran and why he was so upset, and I'm glad that AJ was basically calling him out on sort of not being necessarily fair towards her. It did feel targeted sometimes. It didn't necessarily feel like he was being fair to her, but anyway, I found it interesting that AJ called the Garden Gang, and not the Foul Four, because she was like, some people have been calling you guys the Garden Gang, and I really expected her to say the Foul Four, because I thought that would have been far more funny and far more interesting. But obviously I feel like she's got to remain kind of impartial. I feel like she's on a tight leash currently. Like Davina and Emma, back in the days when Big Brother was unhinged, but obviously ITV is very sort of like welfare concerned, that they don't want their hosts to sort of give people a hard time. So I do understand it. It's just something we've got to put up with and sort of let them be hounded by the public. Do you know what I mean? I didn't want to see a Paul Tom montage. I really didn't need to see it. And then I found it very interesting that his best bits spent half of the time showing him being pissed off and angry, which right about sums up how good his time in the house was. Oh, it was tough to watch the exit interview, because you could tell that he was kind of just like, well, I don't really have any good answers for this, so I'm just gonna backpedal. I'm just gonna, no, I love everyone. Yeah. It was kind of boring to watch, I won't lie. However, Jenkin did have a very, very good exit interview, and I thought he answered a lot of questions, and he was very, very interesting. He came out with more personality than he ever had in the house, which was crazy. I think he was just happy to be out of there, and he acknowledged that he was a moody bitch, and I think that's the best thing that he could have done. If he'd have been like, was I? What? I think I would have had a problem. But he was genuinely expecting to be out after Farida, because he said he had a really, really tough start to the sort of house, and then he never really recovered from that because it was such a bad start. And like he was also talking about how, because AJ loved to bring up the fact that he was the most unlucky housemate ever at the start, and he said to Jenkin, no, Jenkin said to AJ that when he first had a shower in the house, it was warm, and he was so panicked and sort of worried that if he had a hot shower when he was meant to be having cold showers, where was I going with that sentence? It kind of just ran away from me. He was worried that if he had a hot shower when he was meant to have cold showers, then he would have sort of made a punishment happen for the entire house. But when he went to the diary room, so he basically had a cold shower, like a forced cold shower, that he like inflicted on himself. And when he went to the diary room, Big Brother was like, yeah, no, he felt nice. And we were just like, oh, you can have hot water. And Jenkin was like, well, fuck you, because I've just had to have a cold shower. Which, yeah, it was quite funny. That was quite a funny moment. He spoke about the people that he felt had his opinions had changed on, and that included Matty, Henry, and Yinran. He just feels like they've sort of become little kids, and I can understand where he's coming from, but like, is it that serious? Do you know what I mean? Like, they're just trying to enjoy themselves. Let them have their fun, because like, you're no longer an energy sucking vampire. Do you know what I mean? So he also spoke about the green hoodie. And he said that sort of his mum coming into the house was a big eye-opening experience, and he said he was so tempted to like turn around and look at her, but he's grateful that he didn't, because he knew that that would have sort of made the whole house fail. But he said that like the green hoodie was actually his mum's fault, because his mum helped him pack and she packed the green hoodie for him. So if we have anyone to blame, it's, I think her name was Susan. Susan, Jenkin's mum, you're an icon and you better be on the next series of Big Brother, but burn that great green jumper. Oh my goodness. And the last thing I want to talk about in the exit interviews was the fact that both him and Tom, despite nominating him and claiming that he was the sort of person they were least close to in the house, want Jordan to win, because they found out that he was a very authentic, genuine guy by spending time with him in the spare room. Genuinely couldn't have thought of a bigger plot twist, but I wonder whether they've only said him because they're so bitter and sort of spiteful about the other five. Who knows? But either way, the vote has now opened. Vote to win. Somebody is going home tomorrow night. I've put all 5 of my votes on Jordan. I want Jordan to win personally, but I don't know whether that's going to happen. I'm going to say it now, and this is how I feel the evictions will go. I think Matty's going to go tomorrow. I think Noki's going to go on Thursday. I think on Friday there's going to be a top 4. If there's a top 5, then Noki will obviously be in that top 5, I reckon. But I think Matty will go tomorrow. Just because I don't feel like he's got as many backers. Then I think Olivia will come 4th. Henry will come 3rd. Jordan will come 2nd. Yinran will win. But I would love Jordan to win personally, because that's the person that I want to win, obviously. But anyway, thank you guys very, very much for watching, and I'll see you guys later. Keep on ranting, and I will see you guys tomorrow for another eviction in this final Armageddon week. That's not even what it's called. What's it called?